In a flat up in Chicago, with a keyboard and some tea, lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius, he's got a plugin for that. Clicks and tricks from his marketing.
Good morning.
Evil genius.
It's July.
WordPress king. Spencer, baby, you can launch anything.
I'm back. Never really left. I just went on vacation. My mouse is still working here. Evil G song. Really good to be back on this Friday office hours, a sunny mid-July. It's really always hard for me to conceive how fast the summer goes, but we're coming up on week 5 of the summer. And I'm really excited to be back in the driver's seat for a little bit. I took some time to get out and travel. And I was actually supposed to be in San Francisco this week, and I wasn't going to have the office hours, but I just got the cliche-ic. I picked something up on the way off the airplane from Vegas. And all week, I've just been not quite right. I mean, feeling good enough to be out and about, but like something wasn't right. So I decided to wait, maybe go back out in August to visit my son and my family out that way. But in the meantime, the change in plans is a benefit for everyone here, because today I want to talk about really the revolutionary way that your business is going to change with AI in general, but specifically with MinuteLaunch. And I also had a bunch of new signups this week from folks who I hope to welcome. Good morning, Daniel. And hopefully Devin is going to join us as well. Those of you who are watching live, you're welcome to ask questions in general about anything to do with what I offer or the MinuteLaunch. Good morning, John. I made it all the way through the whole trip, made it all the way home, and about 2 days later, I started feeling off. And you never know what kind of cooties you pick up on the airplane, but that's it. I'm like 80% of normal, but in any event, so today is going to be a little more loosey-goosey because I really want to bring in a lot of concepts. Things have been moving. Sorry, my voice has not been used on the professional circuit for a while, so I'm a little rough. Things have been moving fast and furious in the space that we're all operating in. And whether it is for your own particular business or those of your clients, there's absolutely no possible way. Good morning, Lloyd. There's no possible way that you are going to avoid any of the things that have to do with the AI or the LLMs and so forth. And so today what I want to kind of bring together is a little bit of a vision, and I'm going to actually use some drawing tools here, whimsical in particular. Let's bring together a vision of what's happening, because where I see everything working out is that I'm going to be delivering to you guys the goodies that I'm building for myself in order to succeed in this world that's changing so fast. And even WordPress itself has recently announced, it means nothing, but it's an acknowledgement of the truth that they have created an AI team. Now, the difference between what I'm doing and the AI team of WordPress is that with me, you're going to get stuff this week, this month. With the AI team from WordPress, you're going to have a hypothetical conversation that will go on for months and months of people debating. That's the big difference. And in a world of fast movers, even the OpenAI team, I read an article yesterday about how they operate. They don't even do email. They just have Slack. And they went from 1,000 people to 3,000 people. And if you're just not making cool stuff and throwing it out there to see if it sticks, you're not on that team. So for better or for worse, my philosophy is that as a solopreneur working with some select individuals and having the advantage of the tools at my disposal, I'm able to really iterate fast. So if you're joining Team Spence with the evil genius, you're going to end up with something that's going to move fast and furious and get the results, because I believe if it doesn't sell, it's not worth making. If it doesn't solve a problem, it's not worth doing. So let's switch over. I'm going to remove the image. I'm going to add this in. Let's do a little whimsicaling, and then I want to show you some specific stuff. First of all, just to put you into context, I've been working, among other things, on the MinuteLaunch AI mobile device. And so I want to let's start with a concept here on the vision board. Let's start with the concept of what the hell we're doing exactly. Okay. We have a big box in the sky. I hope that's big enough. Do you think that's big enough? I'm going to make it a little bigger. Okay. You have a big box in the sky. And what does this do for people? You know what I want to actually do? I don't usually do this, but I'm going to switch to the big box in the sky mind map. Big box in the sky. Okay. What does this do for you? Well, it does a bunch of stuff. Let's start out with it's private. Number 2, you own and control the software. I'm going to go a little smaller so you can see this. Number 3, modular. Number 4, transportable. Number 5, framework that runs 50% of the internet. Number 6, connects peer-to-peer. Number 7, and then I'll designate what these mean. API, MCP, REST, webhook, OpenAuth, etc. All right, let's cover what a couple of these things mean. One of the things that I feel is important is, why are we all here? We're all here because we've either got a business that we need online technology, or we want to work with customers that have a need for businesses that have online technology. If I, for example, was back in Vegas, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. I don't know, I'm not sure where all this extra junk came from, but just clean up. If I was back in Vegas and I was sitting by the pool, which, by the way, was fantastic just to do that, I could care less whether I had online technology. The things that I was doing involved sitting by the pool, drinking a cool drink, getting a suntan, watching people frolic. If I was at the craps table, same thing, driving my car. There's lots of things in the world that don't require online technology. But if you are doing anything that has to do with communication, services, business, knowledge, education, finances, any of those things, you realistically have to be connected to the world as it exists. And the world as it exists is going to involve some flavor of everybody connecting through some big box in the sky. The big box in the sky is either going to be something that they own and control, or something that somebody else owns and controls. Now, that's a big difference. Why? Because presently we've already seen in the last couple months, let alone year, that big companies who you give the data to, whether it's Adobe or Microsoft or OpenAI or Twitter or whatever, they do not respect the humanity aspect of the relationship. Adobe, very famously, has been screwing around with people. Adobe subscription controversy. If I type this in, you will see here that the FTC is going after Adobe because Adobe basically said, we're no longer making tools that we sell to you that you keep on your desktop. You have to go with our subscription service. And then when you're in the subscription service, they use hidden fees to trap people into paying for it. And when you want to cancel, then they hold your data hostage, like some kind of a weird movie where, hey, it'd be a shame if something happened to all that work product you made the last 7 years. You better keep paying us the money. You know what I'm saying? And this is ridiculous. This is the kind of stuff that happens every single day, whether you're on your Prime Video or you're on your Adobe subscription, or you're even in WordPress, you're a customer of Awesomotive, and they decide that they're going to essentially hold you hostage with 7 steps to get you out. So not starting with something that causes you to be indebted to somebody else is a big deal. Now, the box itself is simply a hosting environment. And one of the things that I am really happy about is that the WordPress ecosystem has got many, many hosting options. I have started out with a relationship with Rocket, where I've talked to you guys about this inevitably a million times, but that the pricing for a Rocket box is normally $30 a month retail. I have agency accounts that have many, many, many hundreds of people on them. So I'm able to go lower than a cost of $10 a month out of my pocket. So I can offer it to you for essentially a cost of goods sold of $10 a month. I'm just going to be totally transparent. $10 a month, Spence cost. Retail equals 20 a month to 25 a month, depending on what you get from me. And we're going to talk about that in a second. If I give you, let's turn off that clickety click sound. If I give you the box, I can build into it the minimal level of software so that something or someone or you can use that box to do all of the things that you need to do, such as, let's see, I don't know what is going on with my voice today. I feel like one of those cranky old men. I'm using my Arm & Hammer baking soda saline spray. This big box in the sky, I want to choose a list. Let's see if I have a list here. Hold on. My goodness. How annoying is my voice today? I don't know where the list is, so I'm just going to put text here. My God, please voice kick in. Okay, number one. This is what happens when you don't exercise your voice every week. Number one, it allows me to put in the MMMH, Media Marketing in Mind Hub software to allow anyone to share, save, create, connect, distribute. This is to say, I give you at $25 a month. It's $5 more than the server. The software that you see me developing here, which is going to be a universal interface. Think razor blade handle. Let's put a picture on of that. I'll just say razor blade handle. I don't know. One of these is an icon. Table text, images, icon, razor. Oh, and my worst case scenario happened, which is I have to switch my keyboard USB because my keyboard machine, this is what happens when you go away. My keyboard machine just turned off, so I've lost my keyboard. Hold on one second. You would think I just literally started doing these webinars. Okay, let's see if I can get my mousey back. Maybe, maybe not. It's gonna be a long webinar if I don't get the mouse back, but I do have a backup, so hang in there, kids. Okay, so let's hope the keyboard works. Good. Razor. So you know how like when you go to the grocery store, or if you use a razor, you essentially buy the razor blade handle and they give you a certain number of razor blades with it. Well, if you think of the big box in the sky, the MinuteLaunch, I'm living large, Daniel, with like every week making all these mistakes. I don't know what to say other than that's the way it rolls. So don't feel bad if you're frustrated yourself. Think razor blade handle. If I give you and or all of your clients a big box in the sky that's a razor blade handle, we can snap onto it any number of razor blades. And the $5 razor blade that's included with the MMMH, with the MinuteLaunch AI, is the interface that you're going to see here, right? This is the universal interface. But onto that, anybody can essentially bolt on whatever they want. Anywhere from a la carte items all the way up to the full $97 a month, which is the current MinuteLaunch kit. So my intention is that for most everybody, it's somewhere between $25 a month and $97 a month. And you can extrapolate that out also into the annual cost. And the benefit of this is that for you and your customers, let's do another drawing, you're going to have a relationship that looks something like this. Your site box, and then their box, and another client's their box. And these are not going to be one-way arrows. These are going to be two-way arrows. And these are going to have what we call peer-to-peer connectivity. That is to say that, let's color this. That is to say, any of your clients or customers will be able to connect two-way with an application password so that their MCP, their AI connection, can get the data that they specifically need or share the data that they specifically want to share. And by the way, they will be able to do it together as well, peer-to-peer. So what's happening, if you follow my drift, is that by giving every person their own big box in the sky and doing it at a price of just $25 a month, ready to go with AI connectivity, I am able to very quickly enable what I'm showing you here, which is a distributed network. Good morning, Marie. I am able to create what's a distributed network model based upon WordPress, where you or any other creator can have all of the content, all the information, all the social networking, all of the products, all of the services, but that you can sell the razor blade handles to your individual customers so that they can use the very same tools to share and save and create and to connect and to distribute. And where you make money is on the fact that your particular razor blade is unique, but not exclusive. It'd be the same thing like with the iPhones, right? Or Android. I've got an iPhone, you've got an Android. Everybody's got an iPhone. Call Oprah. You get one and you get one and you get one. Why is that important? Because everybody, and by the way, there's Androids and Windows phones, but like a gajillion iPhones. Why is that important? Because everybody who has an iPhone can connect with every other iPhone and use the same tools. By having a metaphor where you have a box and your clients all have a box, I and you and everybody can make razor blades that go on the box for free or paid. It's very similar, if you want, to the way the actual App Store would work on the iPhone, except without the exclusivity. That is to say that the things that we create and run do not have to be limited to just a mobile device of a particular type. They do not have to be limited to Windows or Mac. They do not have to be limited to just a WordPress thing. But the fact is, with AI's help, everybody having a very inexpensive big box gives us some of these benefits to create the human relationships between a professional company, maybe like yours, and your customers, but also between your customers together so that everybody can in some way or another become a creator, a sharer, a human being using the tool without having to become an expert in the technology. So this becomes, if you will, a little bit like you're in the business of creating the razor blades, but you're also promoting and selling the handles, because selling the handles means people are going to want your razor blade and they'll be able to do more stuff in a clever way. Let's do a tangible example And since Marie is here, I think it's safe to say I'm working with Marie. Marie has a business involving plus size women's fashion. Now, it doesn't matter if it's plus size women, it could be Spence. I mean, I just bought a bunch of clothing online. I have specific sizes that I wear. I look good in certain things and I don't look good in certain things. I have certain colors I like. These are pieces of information that I may or may not want to be posting on a public website, even a social network. Why? Well, let's take a look at what just happened. Coldplay concert. CEO. Oh, Andy Byron. Genius. Let's be married. I am making judgment here. Let's be married and go to a concert with the girl that I employed as working in my company and be caught on kiss cam with her in my arms while both of us are married. When you put stuff into public spaces or you go into public spaces, you will be slaughtered today. This guy's life is never going to be the same, and maybe rightfully so, to be honest. I mean, he got what he deserved. I'm not making judgments about his personal life, but I'm making judgments about common sense. If you have a website and you wanted, for example, to be really candid about, I look good in this underwear or that underwear or these pants or these shorts, it's sometimes a real question. Do I want to put up my exact size? Because I'm 100% sure somebody is going to use that and dox me or out me. Am I going to put up pictures of me with my shirt off? I mean, I like to think I look great with my shirt off. I do put pictures of it like in a swimming suit, but like, do I want to put it in a position where somebody's going to then later AI it and, make me look silly? So having a private box that I know that information about me that's useful for my purposes of trying to find good clothing that fits and looks good is useful only if it's my big box. Let's make it my big box. Capital letter. My. Come on, capital letters. You can do it. My big box in the sky. So having the privacy means that I can control through an AI agent which pieces of information I store and share. And this box is owned and controlled by nobody. Maybe Rocket, but Rocket has they have a public policy, terms of service that says your data is your data. There's no SaaS, there's no Adobe problem where you made the data and then they're holding you hostage because they got pictures of you in your underwear. Okay. Second of all, owning and controlling the software. If you or your clients have a razor blade handle for $25 a month, $250 a year, all of the stuff that gets bolted onto it, they own and control because the underlying license is GPL. That is to say, GPL, it means open source. And that is the GPL license. That is the foundational element that differentiates everything that we've been doing in WordPress for the last 20 years from everything else. When I started out and Microsoft Windows 95 came out, it would have been super cool to be like, oh, Spence owns the product on Windows 95. But I couldn't because Windows 95 had a closed source license. It was owned by Microsoft. Whereas every single thing in WordPress has an open source license. That is to say, I know that I can do anything I want with it, modify it, change it, do my business because the code is available to me. So that applies to the end user as well. If we create or show them how to create a new razor blade dynamically, they can snap that in, even if they pay you for it or pay me for it. And the client has 100% knowledge that they own and control that forevermore. They'll still come to you or come to me if they want for the convenience. Hello, Karina. Que bueno. Let's use an example. The other day, I was cocking around like I do. And I'm going to go into let me see if I can, here it is. I was cocking around with a client and we were demonstrating like, what if we could just make instantaneous little razor blades to snap on to a private box that somebody used to keep information about themselves, right? So the end user, who's maybe one of your clients, is saying daily, like, I feel great. I don't feel great. I'm sleeping well. My pants have gone up in size. I had a bad stomach yesterday. My kids are driving me crazy. I lost a bunch of money at the racetrack. all the information they keep about themselves, including photos, videos, information. Wouldn't it be cool if we could just dynamically create razor blades, little applications, personal web applications that they could snap right on? It's a piece of cake. So for example, I just asked the assistants of Claude, let's just make real quick a particular type of thing like a sleep resonance frequency generator. That's something that those of us who maybe like to relax at night use to create tones to sleep with. I don't think you're going to hear this, but is asking for the help of the AI agent. I was able to make a razor blade that snaps onto the handle so that somebody who is using the MinuteLaunch AI could connect their private data to what this particular personal web app does and do it in a way that they know doesn't give away their data to Apple or to some other person from the App Store, doesn't post it on a website, doesn't reveal it to anybody, anyone, because the guarantees are built in. Let's take it one step further. Here's another razor blade. I was joking around with it. I'm like, well, what about bedtime stories? What if we could take the information that I shared with my particular box in the sky as your client or as a general client, and I said, I really would like to have it generate new stories about, I don't know, the Enchanted Forest, okay? Generates a story instantly, and then it can read to me in any number of voices, like some nice British lady. You guys may or may not be able to hear it, but it's reading, okay? I said, let's go one step further. Let's pretend I want to take all the data about what I do every day, which I do because I take all kinds of health and fitness and other tracking stuff. I go, I would like to have my box track how I'm doing, including like what I did for exercise, what I did for fitness, what supplements I took, how I talked to the doctor, how's it going in my relationships. And in doing so, I can just very quickly creating an app. You know, I had a wonderful workout this morning. Okay. It saves all of this data with this instantly created razor blade, instantly created. And it's, you can see it here. It's creating a journal live. This is something that I was able to create in seconds. It needs the handle to run on. If they don't have the handle, they can't have the razor blades. If they don't have the private box, they don't have a safe place for the data to be stored. But if they do have the handle and they do have the box, then everything that they enter can be unlimited in terms of razor blades they buy a la carte or get for free, just like an app in the old iPhone store, or razor blades that you provide them as part of your business or your service. Those could be things like the ability to create content, to create email newsletters, to create financial products or services that you as the expert deliver to them. But what's amazing about all of this, I have one more on this too. You can create the sales pages, create the products that sell the razor blades on the handle from what I've given you, and track which of your clients actually have subscriptions with WooCommerce through a dashboard that is totally automated. So for example, I said to this, let's just make the sales page. And by the way, this is sort of scrunched up. That's why it looks like it's mobile version, but it's fully responsive. Okay. I said, let's make the sales page to sell these 3 razor blades, right? The MinuteLaunch AI Wellness Suite. Transform your sleep, stories, and mood in under 60 seconds. Get all 3 for just $250 a year. It's an instant business where you do not have to be an expert at marketing. You do not have to be an expert at creating content. You do not have to create. I'm looking at least half of you guys, Karina and Daniel and definitely Marie. You do not have to be an expert at cadence and making layouts of sales pages. Yes, these are hokey, but I can instantly change these just by telling the AI, you know, what to do color-wise. But all of the content on this was created just by asking it, and even weird stuff like toggles. Why am I going to dick around in the future with making sales pages or even the products? I'll just ask the AI assistant to do it. And this is where I'm going with trying to explain to everybody that the future is not going to be us manipulating the tools. It's going to be us having a box that everybody owns that acts as the receiver for all of the apps, all of the sales pages, all of the connectivity between an AI agent that we all have and other AI agents. Let's do another one. I have some real estate clients. I was in real estate for 25 years. We have the multiple listing service, but wouldn't it be pretty cool for any real estate agent if my box had all the data of which clients' houses I represent, and it instantly had a connection that anybody could, with their own app, get to let them have a dynamic instant application for any house. Show me the houses on Kedzie. Okay. This is like a personal MLS that's a razor blade that connects to and gives connectivity to me about any of these properties in a matter of seconds. Since I, as the real estate agent, can connect my particular box to the MLS and it knows which listings I have, I don't have to type anything again. It propagates fine. But then my box is available for any of my clients or customers or strangers to connect to. Now, let's take a moment because there's a lot of concepts in here. What do we do now for finding real estate? What do we do now for finding information? Well, in the past, we would Google. We'd say, single family homes for sale. Let's do my old neighborhood, 60647. 60647. Let me turn on the number lock. Single family homes for sale, 60647. Okay. Notice what comes up, obviously, is a bunch of intermediary websites, right? You'd use Zillow or Realtor or whatever. In the past, you'd have to know somebody. But when you go to Zillow, you're going to see listings. Now, this is an intermediary. Okay, great. You can see them from all kinds of agents. But if you went to any particular agent, let's just pick somebody. It doesn't matter. They're going to have their own personal website. So let's see if we can figure out who this is. This one is interesting because it doesn't show the particular. It's not obvious who the agent is. This is maybe Jonathan Ortega, but let's do a different way. If we looked for Ivana Holmes, Chicago, this is a friend of mine, Ivana Kudermankevich. Okay. She's got her own website forever. And you could search, old fashioned way through the homes that she lists or in general, right? You could do it by neighborhood or you could do an MLS search or featured listing. What I'm saying is the future is not having to go to one of these websites and have to do use the drop-down menu for Bucktown. And then in Bucktown, I got to search from the address. No, the future is going to have an AI agent that knows what you're looking for. And it's going to find the listings through peer-to-peer connectivity of people who have the listings. Why? Because that agent can understand more specifically what you specifically need and want. Very similar to going back to Marie. Marie has clients that have very particular sizes and tastes in clothing. Once your particular AI agent knows from your own site and box all of the things that are your preferences, it doesn't have to waste your time by making you go scroll the old-fashioned way through a menu. If I was looking for best dumplings in Chicago. Okay. My son Jack and I had the best dumplings ever in Vegas. But if I went here, I got to go to a website and it's going to find a place. And then I got to go to their website or maybe their menu. And then I got to scroll through their menu, whatever. Wouldn't it be better if I had an AI agent? Now let's just pretend this is my agent through the MinuteLaunch system. And I said, you know how much I love dumplings. I want to go to Chinatown in Chicago this Sunday. Give me your best advice. Which place with pork dumplings and make the reservation? What's going to happen is It's going to know your flavor, your taste, your specificity. This isn't going to be able to do it yet, but it's going to be able to find the specific place, get the reservation information, talk to that box, set you up directly with that owner without you going to a website. You're not going to be going to websites anymore. You're not. Maybe if you're curious just to see pictures and stuff, you will. But what's going to happen is, see, this is just pulling up the information. This particular place has a no-wait system. Like, let's see what it is. It's one of these, like, put yourself in line sort of deals. But what I'm saying is your box is now going to do all of the stuff by connecting to another box. And the sooner that you become a participant in the system of offering essentially all of your data, all of your information through an AI agent, through the core of WordPress, and all of your clients have the same, the sooner that everybody will begin to benefit from what these things are that we can really start to do now. Okay, let's do a couple more examples. Modular. I just showed you an example of razor blade handle, razor blades. Imagine that you can go from $25 a month to $97 a month, and you get all $6,500 worth of the components that allow things like product creation, right? I've shown you before with this one. If I wanted to create a product, I can just, I don't know if this will work with my mic. Let's just see. Hold on one second. Create a WooCommerce full product about walking your dog, charge $250. Okay. I've shown you in the past that this system already has the capacity to transcribe, create a full product, and it's ready to go, right? Imagine that you can just quite literally have it do everything from step one about a product, a service, a thing you're doing as a business owner, create all the content around it, go get the images that you need, intersperse with that the specific information like from your booking calendar or your scheduling, and then make it available to other people, right? And on top of that, we can put in the persona that allows it to understand you in particular. I do not eat pork dumplings. I like chicken dumplings, or I like to talk in a friendly way or a more, advanced way. Never share pictures of me in my underwear. Okay. By the way, if you do have your pictures, like here I am getting a haircut. Here I am at the daily having fun with my friends, riding the bikes and going on the lake. And here's some lunch I had the other day. Here's searching for Tiger Woods. So all of the stuff that I accumulate, whether it's direct links or websites, right? Any of this stuff is in my box, but I can specifically share it by telling the AI that I want it to give me, a particular link. This isn't going to work, but I mean, you could just literally say it or talk to it. Give me a link to my last 5 images or something like that. And that link is going to be something, this won't do it because I haven't programmed it, but just the idea. The link is going to be something that you can share with somebody through what we call an LLM text file or an MCP connection. And the thing that I'm building in here looks like this. If I go on the back end, you can see that I've configured out of the box all of the hard stuff with a built-in what we call open router connection. Open router is a way for me to provide connection to all the best LLM brains without somebody having to pay for it. So that means that at $25 a month or at $97 a month, I can provide a certain level of connectivity out of the box that anybody can use for anything. And then there will be, I don't know the number yet, but there will be a number for which somebody can recharge, put more credits in, the gumball machine. But out of the box, somebody could also just use their own keys. So if you're a power user or your clients are power users, they could just go ahead and put in their own keys. And I also have all these other criterion built in about what works what way and branding. So if you want to offer this to your client, white label, your razor blade handle will have your logo on it. It'll have your company name on it. Your clients will know that they got that razor blade handle from you, which is a big deal. All of the data that gets stored, which is really a big deal, gets retained. Why? because the data itself becomes more and more useful as time goes on to the person who owns the box, so that the box knows more and more about that person. The more it accumulates, the more it's trained, the more it knows, the better it works, right? So if we look at this voice recording, this is literally a recording, but we also have the transcription. The transcription is used to create content. Like maybe in this case, it creates a post, or it creates a product, or it creates a page, or it creates a fluent CRM marketing campaign. And all of the output of that is, again, accessible to the particular LLM, which is useful because that means that, again, it can save it, it can share it, can use it elsewhere. All right. So let's see, by the way, if we go over here. Bye, Jackie. I'll talk to you soon. This particular one, in this version of it, I think I have it on the front end. Let's go on the front end. So if I wanted to, let's say, output this data, I'm trying to think where I put this in this version. I've been working on this because I'm going to show you something else with how I'm actually creating stuff, and I think it's fascinating. Let me go over here and see. This is dynamically changing, so that's why I'm not like losing my mind entirely. I've been modifying this, and I want to show you how I've been modifying it. Good morning, Devin. I'm glad to see that you made it. Thanks. Let me show you over here. I lost it. I don't know where I put it. So I'm just going to have to cry uncle on this one. But the point of the story is that this gives us the capability with the content that the person has shared in the box to do what's called an MCP, or an LLM text. I'm going to give you an example of this from the back end. Actually, that might be where I've got it located. So let me just double check. Hold on. I think I used to have it here in settings, and I just don't think I have it for some reason listed now. I do not, but that's okay. An LLM text or an MCP are different ways to either give out a static amount of information that's optimized for the AIs to use, or an open channel that allows it to communicate. MCP is the holy grail. MCP is what will allow your site and their sites to connect together, or their sites to connect together individually. It's very similar to what we use now when you use the term API with human beings. It's the thing that allows one site to poll another site and to connect. Now, I'm going to show you something that most people wouldn't show. I'm going to show you on the back end some of the tools that I've been creating that are going to be part of the system that you're going to benefit from. And if I go to the dashboard here, let's just see what shows up. Rolling the dice here. Okay. So if I go on the back and I go into one of these tools that I've created for myself called Rocket Sites. Rocket Sites is the tool that I use so that if you purchase a Rocket site from me, I can automatically talk to Rocket. And with the, by the way, forgive me, Devin, because you're being outed here a little bit as a customer, but there's nothing here, I think, that's private information other than just your name. Sorry about that. When a and by the way, Devin, I do apologize. I wouldn't normally reveal anything that you just happen to be at the top of the list because you just subscribed. But when somebody subscribes and needs a site, it would be a drudgery for me to have to go ahead and manually create the site. Similarly, if I have thousands upon thousands of clients and I want to find somebody, I don't need to have to go through that manually. I want to have my AI agent do that for me. So if I look for somebody, let's filter for test. Okay, here's a couple test accounts. Wouldn't it be great, and this is what I've been building these tools for, that the person can just buy a product on the front end of the site. So for example, this is your site. You have your tool in your hand and you say, create a product called Startup Monthly. It creates the product and it's in WooCommerce and it has all the parameters you need. When somebody buys that product, if you need it to, that can launch a site through Rocket. Notice over here, I've got another tool that I can configure that says which of my products will create a site, right? Because not all of them will. Once the site is created, wouldn't it be cool if that person, of course, was added to my CRM and I had all the information about them, but that if they stopped paying or they canceled or they did this or did that, that I could see that their relationship with me was over. I can view their subscriptions again. Devin, this is a test person, but let's say this test person has subscription 23457. It's already been canceled. All of this information is not only available to me, but it's available to my AI agent. So my AI agent has now the capability to be trained and taught how to run my business, how to manage when customers cancel. It can be taught, this person, test 1234, was a subscriber. They canceled. Clearly, we need to look at what they did and then send them out a reminder that says, maybe you need to resubscribe, or maybe I'm going to resubscribe for you, or maybe there's something else that we can see in their pattern of behavior that can be then used to train the AI agent on my box, because we've got the tools, the razor blades on the handle for creating products, subscriptions, managing the email, managing the relationship, even with the Fluent CRM, seeing the entire history of everything that the person has done. And these are the kinds of things that when you start to think about it, make much more sense. Why should you as a human being spend most of your waking days creating sales pages and managing subscriptions and collecting money and emailing people about mundane stuff? You need to be worried about creating cool content or dealing with people on a human basis. And so creating the tools on the back end as part of running the system is also one of the things that comes with this relationship you have with me. Many of you have had me starting to do that. And again, I've shown you plenty of examples of it with Julie and with, there's another, there's at least 2 or 3 other ones, but like the one that I'm working on this week, I'm working on Portal to Ascension, which is subscription management for, online courses and webinars. All of these tools have a similar thread, which is to say they are basically built as a box that runs the stack of software from MinuteLaunch or just the basic MinuteLaunch AI just to start with. And they all can have any degree of people using them on the front end, on a personal level, on the back end. Let's talk about a couple other things here, just since I'm throwing it in. The modularity of this, because I'm wearing the IKEA vest today. When you go to IKEA, you know that anything you buy will snap together with anything you ever got from IKEA. When I was working with Julie, one of my favorite clients, of course, we were working with a product yesterday called Replit. Replit is one of the most amazing, cool tools that is very similar to what I use called Cursor. We were building out the same thing in Replit as we were in WordPress. So this police skeet shooting tracker. And I think I have permission from Julie to show this. There's nothing here that's a huge secret. But what we were doing was essentially, she was working on some of the design and the aesthetics elements of what this thing would look like if it was built as an app using the tools in Replit. Replit's tools are not the same as WordPress. She did an amazing job at creating this fully functional application, okay? The same things that we have in her WordPress thing, she was able to view, to create here in Replit. Amazing, 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 amazing. But, and here's the but. This stack, this platform with Replit is not WordPress. You can own it and control it sort of, but if I ask it the question, what is this built with? It's going to say Node.js, React, this, that, the other, all these different ingredients that are essentially available here, there, and everywhere through the internet, but require a specialty type of a knowledge and require somebody to essentially not go to IKEA. They essentially have to create everything from scratch, like go into the forest and build it yourself. And the level of knowledge and expertise made itself really obvious because yesterday we asked it, could you remake this thing that you built for Julie in WordPress, just like we were doing from the other direction? And here you can see, this is very tiny. So I'm going to try to make it bigger. What did it use? Look at this freaking list of stuff. React 18, Vita, Wooter, Shade CN, Tailwind CS, TanStack, React, Node.js, PostSQL, Drizzle ORM, TypeScript. I mean, what? Okay. I'm a developer. I know what these are. I have no idea how to use any of these things. Honestly. None. I have 20 years. I could, in my sleep, tell you how everything works in WordPress. And WordPress is owned and controlled, and it's at a level where mere mortals like you and I could utilize it. This stuff, whatever it built, I'd have to be at square one for figuring out how to use, how to make. So what Julie and I talked about, what's the difference between this and what we built, which was, Halise Scores. Halise Scores is awesome. And it stylistically is not finished, but it has all of the functionality in it that we need. And I've been demonstrating this, to you guys as we've gone along, that it has everything that we need to run everything about this business, but it's built from the ground up as being WordPress. So under the hood, it's modular. Everything in here, including the shooter reporting data and all the high-end stuff that we did, all of this is built from the ground up with WordPress. And why is this relevant back to my thing of modular? It means that everything in there is a component that could on its own be used in another way. I can snap in another feature. I can snap out a feature. I can rebrand it, resell it. If I went to IKEA, I could get drawers for my little Verklumpta cabinet under my TV and it would fit. If I had a dude in Bangalore who wrote or made custom furniture in Italy, maybe custom furniture, and 10 years went by, I'm done. There's no way I'm finding that dude. He's not making me custom drawers to fit into my thing anymore. It's not modular. At the moment, the world is fighting over which platform. Is it Replit? Is it Lovable? Is it Huggable? Is it this? Is it that? Is it the other thing? I don't know. But what I do know that right now I can 100% guarantee is that everything I'm doing using the agentic coding is WordPress. The only difference is I'm not having to rely upon using the old-fashioned tools to make stuff. So when I want to go ahead and make content right over here, and I want to make a post, okay, I can quite literally just click a button, right? I'm doing a new sort of version of this, but I can just literally say, create a 4-paragraph blog post about how awesome WordPress is in 2025 and how it's only getting better with AI. Okay. And it's going to go out and it's going to use WordPress under the hood. I'm just not typing into WordPress. I'm not going ahead and, manually doing the stuff, right? This was a brief version because I didn't ask it to do anything magical, but if I wanted to do it magical, I can have it process this recording, and it will go out and take the recording that I just made in the transcript, and it will literally write me out this amazing blog post, including images and everything else. The difference is it's still WordPress under the hood. I'm just not interacting with the interface of WordPress. I'm using the AI because I trained it to do that. And to me, that's kind of like where WordPress makes this very amazing, because the WordPress functionality has always been the same. It will continue to be the same. I'm just changing how I work with the interface so that I don't have to do time-consuming stuff. Great question. Okay, thank you, by the way. Anne, hello. Anne brings up this great idea that I implemented for those who need anonymous data. So let's go back to the concept of I'm an attorney, I'm a doctor, I'm a nutritionist, or I'm just Spence. Hello. And I would like to use the external tools that my LLM can connect to through my box. Let's make a new connector here, shall we? Let's make this one red. And let's bring it over here. Anonymizer. And then let's make this one a regular. We'll make this a outside service LLM MCP. I want to connect to something with my box, but I want to make sure that my data doesn't get revealed, because I'm an attorney. I have a protective order. I'm a doctor. I have HIPAA records. If that stuff gets out of my client, my patient, my case, I'm screwed. Okay. Let's check it out. I've got a tool that I'm running over here in Insta, which I normally do not run, but this is where I run some experiments. Let's see if, I think I put it on this site. I run a lot of experiments and sometimes I forget where I left them. Here it is, Anonymizer. Okay, here's the concept. I go to the internet and I'm an attorney. Example, deposition. Or this is a story about my love affair with a coworker. Just kidding. Here's an example deposition transcript. Let's take, I don't know, let's just take this one. Joseph Nadeau. It's a PDF. I'm going to download this file. Let's pretend this is the deposition that I just had from my case. I'm going to put this on the desktop. Okay. When I open this up and I want to go to an LLM to ask it things through my box, this is going to be stored on my box. I simply take all of the data. So in this case, I can use the copy and paste feature. By the way, let's do it this way. Hold on. Okay. I'm not sure what it looks like. I'm copying a lot of stuff, but let's see if I copied. I'm going to open it up with a different tool. Hold on a second. Let me try a different tool to open this up. Or you know what? I'll just do this. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the last page. All I'm trying to do is select all, but because I'm in the I'm in some kind of overlay mode here, it's causing me all kinds of grief. Okay, so let's say I take this deposition, and if I can, I do a select all. I'm going to do a different document. Let me get a different document. Okay. Let me get something better. Come on. Here. It doesn't matter what I do. I just need to get anything just to give you some content. Okay. All right, good. So let's say I take this. This is the case of Alexine Hassler. I put this data in with the real names. Okay. And it's deposition Alexine Hassler, just so I know what was used to anonymize this. I'm going to show Devin this workflow before we're done too, on how to do the multiple attendees. Since you were nice enough to ask earlier, I want to make sure we cover that. Let's say I take this data and I anonymize it. What this does is it creates a session where it maps all of the names, places, addresses, numbers, things that essentially could be identifiable. And it removes them and replaces them with something else. So Frederick becomes Ava, Marilyn becomes Aaron Gomez, in the circuit court becomes anonymized address 975. Why? Because now it gives me a feed, and this will all be automatic, I can take that feed and I can go to any LLM or any service, and I could say, summarize in a few sentences the main point of this document and the conclusions you have from it. Okay. I give it the feed. It's going to take that data and it's going to process it. But because that is now anonymized, it essentially does not know who the people are. It will give the answer based upon the information that's there that's still relevant, but it will not out the people. My main conclusion is that this is a heavily redacted legal document that's funny, actually. But in most cases, it gives enough, to essentially get you the point that you need, right? So depending on how much or how little it's anonymized, it does give you the facts and the details, and there's the plaintiffs. Now notice it refers to the plaintiff as the Aaron Gomez and the defendant Henry National. Let's take this and we put it back into the system. We de-anonymize it. When we paste it back in and we match it up with what it was used as the key, it just essentially uses the map like the Enigma machine, and it replaces it. Now it says the real jury trial, the real participants, the real names, everything else. And that is the system by which we can, in Spence's poor man version, not $195,000 a year, anonymize the data if you wish to do so between your box and these outside services. There will likely be some kind of a configuration checkbox in the interface that when you do one of these things, it'll be like, kind of like here, we create content, it'll be anonymize the content. And then when it comes back in, it will store it unanonymized. But that will be some of the ways that I can do this, and do it in a way that's available to you guys today. Okay, so just to wrap this up, and then I want to share with Devin one of the things that's kind of old school, is that one of the things that why I'm pushing this is that I want you guys to understand, if you go to WPLaunchify now and you go to the shop, I'm going to be making this weekend, I hope, the sales pages for the MinuteLaunch AI monthly and annual. This is the $25 a month box that will have the first version of what you're seeing here on it, and will continue to be updated. And likewise, you could do annual for $250. This is the same tool, the same box that you're getting if you're already on the MinuteLaunch startup. The difference is that it does not and it will not have the full software bundle. It does not and it will not have the unlimited email support. It's just the hosting and the plugin. So the AI is something that I feel you guys are going to want to offer to your clients. And in order to make that possible, for many of you who have already discussed this, depending on your business, I'm willing to do a co-venture where I create a sales webinar to your audience, to your customers, and we sell them together. I pitch the handle, the underlying MinuteLaunch AI, with all the benefits somebody could get just to use it for itself, regardless of you. But we also pitch your razor blade. That is your subscription services, your subscription products, your subscription membership, your site that goes on top of it. So instead of focusing so much on just your WordPress website, we're focusing on you're selling somebody a tool that's going to revolutionize their life in many convenient ways, just for all day long, talking to it with no need to become an expert in AI, no need to become an expert in WordPress, no need to become an expert in anything about how all of this works. They just have a new tool that will really change their life, and they own and control all of the data. But let's be fair, they're going to probably want to keep it in perpetuity, because the more they put into it, the better it gets, the smarter it gets, the easier it is for them to do more stuff, like some of the examples I've shown you. And one of them is connecting to your site, to your data, whether it's, tools about how to dress yourself, or tools about pickleball, or tools about nutrition, or tools about being a fractional CMO, and so forth. Okay. Based on WordPress means that all of the content they create is available in the same modular format that's fully transportable, fully available to them. They can leave at any time and stop doing the AI stuff. It doesn't make a difference. It's all under the hood the same. They will be able to connect, like I've shown you in the past, with the Media Hub peer-to-peer. if they want to share pictures of how they look putting on these clothes with a trusted friend, they don't have to worry about being outed like the schmo who was at the Coldplay concert hugging his cheating girlfriend and vice versa. They can just privately know that I'm only sharing the pictures of me in my underwear with one person who is my fashion consultant. If all of this makes sense, the future that I'm looking for is for you guys to begin working with me to start selling the $25 a month, $250 a year handles immediately to the folks who can then start using it for all of the benefits that are immediately available, and then will continue to benefit as the time goes on, because I am using this one last tool, and then I'm going to share with Devin and the rest of you how to do the onboarding. I'm using this tool here, which I have to change my share. I'm going to, I guess I have to share this screen. I'm using this tool here. So unlike Replit, I'm using a tool that is a cursor. It works on my desk. And it is what I've been using to develop stuff agentically, which means that I have a team of tools working on my desktop, and I can have a conversation, a history with it, and I can fix things dynamically. I can change things dynamically. We can build things dynamically. And in doing so, it's pretty awesome, because unlike the sort of walkie-talkie thing that happens when I go to Claude or ChatGPT, this is a continuous relationship that has a history and rules and everything else. And you'll notice here, if you guys can read that type, it's really small. I'm like talking to it about which version it's at, which part we're working on, how we're making the interface better, etc. I can come back to this at any time, and I'd be like, you know, hey, it's me again. Are you ready to start building more? And this is what a typical day is like for me now, talking to the one or two or three tools. It knows where I'm at, what it's got to build. And it's like, let's rock and roll. I can even get these to a certain degree to work while I'm sleeping, although I'm not quite there yet. So what I intend is to have this factory that is churning out razor blades, managing client relationships, building tools for you, all of it using the same standard WordPress under the hood that at any time you or anyone else can just unhook and still own and control for all the value, but that I can now crank out a 1 to 1,000 ratio of work product. One guy can crank out what 1,000 people used to do. And I mean that quite literally, because I can build stuff right now that's crazy town fast in seconds. Okay. Let's talk for Devin's benefit. I'm going to add to the stage. I'm going to go and talk about how we do onboarding, because it's still relevant. Okay. One of the things that I explained to Devin when he signed up, and Devin, I know you're here, so I'm not speaking in third person, hopefully it sounds, is that we have documentation at WPLaunch Kit that's been here since I started this endeavor. And it's wonderful, but just every day goes out of date because of everything I just talked about. So for example, when he wants to know how to do Foo events or bookings or WooCommerce, if you went in here and did Foo events, you would find an overview, right? Hi, Devin. I know you're here. The problem is this stuff is just, it feels like I'm reading an Encyclopedia Britannica. If I go to MinuteLaunch, Ann and I were working on making recipes a couple months ago, and you will see stuff here about Fluent and tying it to WooCommerce, Fluent Community Course, chat. Same problem. It's all nonsense. It's just nonsense. All of this stuff is a waste of time. So I'm not saying it's abandoned. It's abandoned for now in favor of just sticking to things like, here's the ingredients. All right. So what I wanted to explain is that what we're going to be doing from here on out is we're going to be just doing dynamically creating information, and the AIs will be helping it quite a bit, but I'm going to do manually what's up. Number one, let's go to Rocket. And I think I have an office hour sites here on this server. One of the concepts, Devin, and for those who want a refresher, is that we use the best features of certain plugins, but not in their original way. So for example, we use WooCommerce to create a product, free or paid, that can be used for onboarding somebody, right? So if we go over here to WooCommerce products, a product free or paid with WooCommerce and launch flows can be used to give a tag with Fluent CRM that engages or opens up either access to an event or to a booking. What's the difference between a booking and an event? Well, an event is built into the products, and that's typically something where you have a live event, one to many, and you need to have something like QR codes or tickets, right? So live event, many people. It's very easy to do this here because with WooCommerce and launch flows, which now I notice is not turned on, let's turn on launch flows. By the way, I turned on randomly this office hours. It may or may not have all the features turned on. So launch flows is not, oh, it is enabled. Here we go. We need to turn on Foo events. Okay. So all we're going to do is go to Launch Kit. I'm going to log in and I'm going to add the Foo events and the accessories so that's available to us to use for an example. And all I do is I log in and I can either type the word Foo or I could just do it this way. It's just as easy. So I'm going to add Foo events. I do not use Foo events bookings, by the way. Even though I include it, I never use it. I could use the custom fields and I could do express check-in and I could do multi-day and I could do seating. I don't use bookings. I'll put it in there, but the reason I don't do bookings is because I use Fluent bookings. But nevertheless, when we go to plugins, let's make sure we enable those new plugins. And I just real quickly do it the old-fashioned way this way. Okay, now that's enabled. If we refresh this product, we will see a new option for events. What we want to do is enable that, which will toggle all the Foo event options there. Again, even if this is a live event, I like to do it virtual because it just allows it to be purchased and without any delay in checkout, or otherwise you use the plugin that allows us to automatically complete all checkouts. Either way, if it's virtual and downloadable, it'll happen on its own. This could be a one-time product or a subscription. Typically, these will be one-time purchases, so simple product. Launch flows, we want the product to go to checkout page because that's what we've set up as our global checkout. And we have a global thank you page that we use also. These setups are a whole nother conversation, but using launch flows, we can say wherever we want somebody to go after they purchase. It could be the checkout page, it could be the thank you page, it could be let's do my account instead. Okay. We can create a custom layout here using launch flows with the blank template, or just leave the original WooCommerce layout. And let's just put a picture of people on bikes for the event. Okay. Since this is the original WooCommerce, let's just clean it up a little bit so that it doesn't have all the extra offers and sales stuff and so forth. And then what we want to do is decide, and I noticed WP Fusion is enabled. So let's pause this. Let's publish. I want to also give a tag. Now, maybe I should have picked a different site to set this up on because I don't have any plugins, but I need to add 2 more plugins. I need to have Fluent CRM and I need to have WP Fusion. So let's just go ahead, and I guess it's good that I'm showing you how to do it. Let's just add Fluent CRM and Fluent CRM Pro. And I'll also add WP Fusion just because I think that's going to be relevant as well when we're doing this the right way. Okay, so I'll turn those on also. And I think I've already used these before, so they should already be set up. But if not, I may have to just set up real quickly 1 or 2 things. Okay. If this is properly configured, when I go to settings, WP Fusion, we should see Fluent CRM already connected. It is not. So I'm just going to connect Fluent CRM, this site. So WP Fusion knows where to get the tags. Cool. And then in Fluent CRM, I just want to make sure that we've got at least a main list. So I'm going to go over here to lists. We should have a list called main. No, this isn't even set up either. So we're going to set this up. My business. And I'm going to make a list called main list. And I'll make a couple tags called sample tag 1 and then sample tag 2. These are just a way to designate if somebody does something, yes or no. Okay. And one of the things that I want to do here is maybe just connect the basics of WooCommerce integration, because that way Fluent CRM knows that it's got this capability. So if I just go over into here under settings, here, integration, we're going to just do WooCommerce main list. And I'm not going to give a default tag, but I'm just going to say, that's cool. Make sure anybody who buys gets on the main list. Okay. One of the things I should have done, but I didn't, but I'll go back to is I'll go to settings, WP Fusion, and I'll also make sure that knows that the main list is what we're putting people on. And again, I'm not going to assign any tags. I'm just going to have the main list be the list that people get added onto. Okay. Now that we've got that, the key components finally set together. Let's refresh our product and finish it up. One of the things we'll see here is that when we're creating this product, we'll have the ability with WP Fusion to add a tag if somebody purchases this. So let's give them sample tag 1, representing, yes, they bought access to this live event. If it was a subscription, we can also remove it. But this is one time, so we're not going to remove it. We could also, with Foo Events, decide to add attendees as a separate contact, which would be useful because what if you buy 2-3 tickets, you want the names of all the attendees. We could also give a different tag to attendees to let them know that they were purchased along with the main buyer. Why is that necessary? Well, because the buyer is one person and the attendee is another person. If you just add the attendee, they're not getting a tag for buying it because they weren't the ones that bought it. They're maybe getting a tag that says like, you know, attendee to live event, many people. All right. And then finally, you could set up the event. So the difference with this is if it's an event, this is typically like a single day, sequential days. You can have the starting date. You can put all this information in here about the venue, the address, the location, yada, 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 the tickets, what ticket theme. All this stuff is like, I'm going to a concert. But the cool thing is we're essentially done. When somebody goes to buy this product, okay, and you can use the Launchflow's direct to checkout link, or you can just use the regular product page. This is the direct to checkout link. This will send this person directly to a checkout to buy that product for themselves and or other people, right? And I was cocking around on this checkout page. That's why it's got all this weird stuff on it. So this is an old demo site. Let me remove all of this stuff. So if I just use the standard Launchflow's checkout, we will just see essentially the person can buy, they can add another ticket and add the name of the person who's going with them and so forth. Really simple. Okay. So what we've got here is the basics of how to buy an event. If we wanted to do the Fluent bookings, I think is the tool that you're going to use like Calendly. That's for calls. So if, for example, somebody wants to buy a call with me with Fluent Booking, they can buy it through WooCommerce, and then they're given access to my calendar, my schedule. Same idea. I have to go to Launch Kit. I'm going to add in Fluent Bookings. Booking. So Fluent Booking and Fluent Booking Pro. And this is, again, a distinction one-to-one versus one-to-many, an event versus a phone call, a Zoom call. Let's enable those two. And these just require minimal setup, but we'll just do real quickly like the super example, not the detailed. You can put everything in here under the sun, including, you know, connecting to Zoom and so on and so forth. But it is a basic idea. If we go to Fluent Booking, Let's find it here. Settings. You got to create a calendar and team and so forth, right? So here's your team. I'm already on it. You're going to set up a calendar to sync your events to. Zoom, which I'm not going to do now, but you can connect your Zoom account. You can do direct payments through Stripe, PayPal, and so forth. Don't. You want to do this through WooCommerce. That's the whole point. We want it to be that you have one transactional engine, which is WooCommerce, not that you're paying through lots of random engines, okay? And for this, here you'd create a calendar for the person like yourself. First of all, add a host. And this has got to be a person who's a user account. So this is Spence, and I'm going to do either a group call bookings or one-to-one. And we'll call it one-to-one, 30 minutes with Spence. And I can say, you know, you get it. Have a call on Zoom, just, you know, $199 or whatever it is. I set the time zone. I set the location. Again, Zoom video, yada, yada, yada. I don't have it connected, but you would put Zoom in there, of course. All right. When you continue, you can set up the calendar just like Calendly. Cool. All this stuff is like pretty standard, pretty easy. So now I've got this, and now I can do payment settings, WooCommerce, or I can do direct payments. I'm going to want to do WooCommerce, right? So in this particular case, enable payment module is one way of doing it. But I want to use the WooCommerce integration. For the WooCommerce integration, I think it's in a different menu. And forgive me because it's been a while since I've done it. I think they've maybe moved it. I'm going to have to, believe it or not, I'm going to have to refer to the documentation. So MinuteLaunch, ingredients, I go to Fluent Booking, right? I go to the docs, and I'm just type WooCommerce. Because I forgot how we connect that one in here. It's been a bit. I got to spell it right. WooCommerce. All right. And I think it's in the settings menu, but it's been a while. No, global modules. Okay. So who would have known? Global modules. And look, the dashboard is slightly different now. So that's always fascinating to me as well, because now I don't know where to. Maybe it's in advanced features and add-ons. There it is. So we want to add the WooCommerce module. This is now how you will set up your particular thing. And I'll just show you what it does here, which is you go into the event and you just change the payment settings where it'll now show WooCommerce option, right? So where we were before, we go into my calendars and I edit this payment settings. We can use WooCommerce checkout. We choose the product we just created. Now, in this case, we could make a new product. I'll just say, choose live event, or choose here. Let's choose product 1. This is the product that somebody has to buy in order to get to the booking screen. And when we're all done, because I'm going to wrap this up, when we look at this, the availability, we can see this particular calendar as a short code that we embed, or as a landing page, or as a Gutenberg block, or we can generate a link that we can use for social media. So if we go ahead and enable the landing page as an option, I like this because this allows me to just have, let's call it Spence's calendar, Spence 30 minutes. This allows me to just use the tool that's in here to have a very attractive landing page that I can just globally share, right? And by the way, I don't use dark mode. I like the lighter mode. It's easier to read, but there's the calendar. Somebody wants to do this, 9:30, just like Calendly, you know, Bob Smith, something. It's going to ask me to pay by checking out with the product. There it is. Once I pay, I finish the booking and I'm good to go. Okay. You guys are amazing. Devin, hopefully that helps get you started. By the way, all of the tags from the products will then go to my CRM so that you as the site owner know, oh, look, Spence booked the event. Spence did the calendar. Spence went to the live thing. Using the CRM, using the backend stuff, combined with the AI means that we've got a comprehensive system where, let's just use that example of what I created. The goal for me is to be creating, with the help of my cursor and other tools, a series of helper modules that understand what under the hood we're doing with WordPress so that you do not have to do what I just did. In other words, wouldn't it be awesome? And by the way, I'm just going to show you because this is awesome. I have a clone of that other site, of that MinuteLaunch. I'm pretty sure this works. Hold on, let's see. This is just a clone of it that's clean, and I'm not 100% sure. I don't have WooCommerce set up on that. But if I added WooCommerce into this, I might be dangerous here. What I'm able to do with the tools is to program the understanding of how everything works under the hood, right? How do these plugins function? What are the fields? What are the necessary database changes? Like giving it the knowledge that I have after 18 years of what it is expected to do, right? So let's just go to my store. Let's see. This is going to try to do all kinds of crazy setup. Okay. As long as I get products, let's just see with this example. I don't know if I broke it. If I go to create, see, create is a WooCommerce product, right? So I'm going to, let's give it, create my new product on Fluent Booking. I'm going to give it a title, right? And let's give it, I don't know, no categories yet. And here's the content. Create a product that's 4 paragraphs long about the amazing features of Fluent Booking Pro and why it makes WordPress awesome. Okay, so I'm going to tell it what I want it to write, and I can give it a tag if I want. Somehow I was talking too much. Create a new product about Fluent Booking Pro, make it 4 paragraphs long, and charge $250. Okay, so, and then I give it a tag, you know, Fluent Booking. And here, this little checkbox I'm not going to have to do in the future, but I can have it generate a product. Boom, done. That was it. Don't believe me? Let's take a look on the back end. If I go over here to products, there's my new product ready to go. Okay. Now, one of the things is with the demonstrable proof, here's the price, right? And it's got the words that I put in there that were literally, but what's really going to happen is, besides creating the product, I'm going to have it create the content. So the content is going to be more like this. It's going to be like, let's turn on the mic. Hold on, and let's make sure that my microphone setting is correct. Okay, so let's do this. I have to call you right back. I'm still live. Do a 4-paragraph post about the amazing benefits of Fluent Booking Pro and why it changes your life when you're using the MinuteLaunch system. Okay. What is really going to happen is these two concepts are being merged together, where it not only creates the product, but it does the transcript, and then it essentially will do the research and create the outcome for you, right? So in other words, it will not just, something with my transcription didn't work, but it will not just create the product. It'll actually go out and make the content that goes into the product so that we won't have that placeholder line. So okay. And when this is working, what happens is it'll take that details, it'll go out, do the research, get all the images, bring it back. And when it's done, it'll put it inside of the product. And I think that's the takeaway, because I'm long over time by half an hour. The takeaway from all of this is I'm at the point where I am willing and able to sell you and your customers on the interface The interface by the end of this weekend, I hope, will have matured to the point where I will be able to create any post type, any product type, any marketing campaign, which I already use this for, to save and share data like photos, images, voice, transcription, to build snap-on apps like I was showing you. And if your clients are interested and willing, there's very little risk of exposure, right? So all of this is like a commitment of $25 a month, cancel anytime, or $250 a year, cancel anytime. For you guys, I'm looking for you, like Marie is involved, Anne, all of you guys here today, to be participatory with me. I've done this in the past where I'm willing to be participatory in creating the sales content, the webinar, the pages, the back end, everything, so that we can get your business up and running into this modern metaphor. And it's selfish in a humanistic way. It's selfish because what I'm saying is I can offer you a system that I can put my name and face and reputation on. My grandfather taught me, remember, that's my only job in this life, is to come out of it with everybody saying Spencer was a good human being. And I can deliver to you the same tools that I'm building for myself so you can build them, but in a way that we both profit and your clients benefit. But we all move forward as human beings, because ultimately there's no denying, it's undeniable that we are at the stage where this stuff is just the way it's going to be. And everybody who's sitting here going, oh, it's never going to happen, is just deluding themselves. They're deluding themselves. The issue is, how do we apply it in the way that is helpful for humanity? And that requires those of us who are interested in helping humanity to demonstrate by way of example how to do it, instead of letting the oligarchs and the lunatics do this, where they basically want to have it running around putting people in bad positions, let's just say, using it as a disadvantage. Because we see that there are going to be many people who are out of work as of this moment. I mean, quite honestly, if you think you have a value by typing paragraphs just randomly, you're really mistaken. You have to be in a position to be a prompt engineer to know how to make the tools do what you want it to do. That's where you need to move your knowledge base, your skill base. And these are the ways, by the way, I love this, but I've had that on the whole time. These are the ways that I'm going to get everybody there. So I love you guys. Thank you for participating. I hope that you will reach out to me if you haven't already about, let's do something together to get to your audience of folks, because that's also a no cost way for you to fund your entire endeavor, right? Like $250 a year, and it's $5,000 of Spence's time. It doesn't take a lot of signups for people before you're in, in the black. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inspiring me. And thanks for putting up with my lack of ability to run a webinar after 18 years. But hey, my new toys and my new tools are mostly working. I'm very happy with the quality of this. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope to talk to you soon.